The movie's called Captivity, and I think it's a wonderfully apt title.
Captivity is kind of a love story set within the genre of a psychological thriller.
The storyline is kind of complex. There's a lot of things that sort of happen throughout the course of the film. The character I play, Jennifer Tree, is a very famous model, and she gets captured.
She wakes up in an environment where she doesn't know where she is. She has no idea the motive or the reason that she's been captured.
If you're in here, what do you want? It's sort of her fight to get free, and in the midst of that, she sort of meets someone else in the same predicament and falls in love. We're not getting out of here, are we?
There's always a way out.
It's a thriller. I also would describe it as a psychological drama.
It's not just a story about a woman who's captured. I think the themes in this movie that are very fascinating are this whole question of desire and possession. And above all, I think people have tremendous fears about being powerless. And a really good genre movie plays into fears that we have.
When I heard first time Roland Joffe did say yes to direct Captivity, my first thought was, now we're talking.
Roland has never done this kind of film before. I liked Roland a lot. I thought we could work well together. So I said, Roland, would you be up to reading a script? And he said, sure, I'll read a script.
I like the themes. It was a genre movie, but it actually had a theme and it had a development in it, and I thought that was very intriguing.
And Roland called me back 2 days later. He said, this is really intriguing. I'd be interested in doing it.
It's a very, very precision technique, making a genre movie. It really meant that I had to go through the whole movie from beginning to end, probably in my head twice, and storyboard everything. It's kind of as precise as a Swiss watch, and each piece really has to work. There are tricks that you can use, and I think if you use them so that they are honestly built into the story, they're not just stuck onto the story, then I think a genre movie can actually work in quite a very evocative way. And I think the other thing about it that was very fascinating to me was that it's kind of an action movie in a tiny space. We had to find out ways of making the room look different, because obviously for a prisoner in a space, the space feels different at different times. Sometimes it's going to feel incredibly restricted and claustrophobic. At other times, when you're frightened because you're in the dark, it's probably going to seem absolutely enormous. So it became a constant challenge about, well, how do we actually show the space?
For Roland, every shot in his previous work has been very elaborate shots, very wide establishing. I mean, this is so intimate, and Captivity is about being boxed in.
So it meant every day on the set, you were playing a sort of three-dimensional chess. Not only that, if you imagine the size of a camera crew, that's an awful lot of people to be squeezed in a space that's sort of 12 by 12. So you also had to work out, well, if the camera is going to be moving, which it needs to do very much, where is everybody going to go?
If you see how he works on a set, Roland Joffe, he's a genius, really.
Roland comes to set with as much humility as any actor. There's no status being played between the director and the actors. It's not, you must do this and it's my way to play. He's excited by what you create.
I'm very impressed with Roland. He's an incredible man with great vision, philosophy.
Mark's particular bent with this one was that we would make a genre movie in Russia.
Less than a year ago, Ramco sought me out in Los Angeles.
And we introduced him, our company.
I was very impressed with the three principals that I met, which was Leonid Minkovsky, Valery Chumak, and Serge Konov.
2 weeks later, he just said, you know what? I decided I want to check myself. Everything you told me about Ramco, about Mosfilm, about Moscow, and 2 weeks later he was here.
He worked around Mosfilm, he saw stages, and he took the decision to film Captivity here.
I like working here. I like the Russian people. I like the Russian crews.
I think that Ramka will help. We educate people here in Russian crews to work according world standards.
It's not the Russians' job to work out really how to work with us. It's more our job to work out how do we work with them.
Есть человек там на рации?
Можно, только нужно обеспечить рацию.
Yes, you can, but...
And I think to work internationally is a very, very enriching experience.
When pre-production in Roland stayed for a long time in Los Angeles, polishing script and dealing with the casting.
It was very, very tough to work during pre-production because Roland was in Los Angeles.
And the head of art department supposed to build a very authentic New Jersey house.
I like this method working. I absolutely agree with Roland. I like attention to all details. I like this method.
Well, I think Adis has done a wonderful job. He has never been in America, and yet he has created an American ambiance. It was a daunting task through internet, through exchanges between Roland and himself.
So when Roland finally arrived in Moscow, the set was completely built. And I remember the expression on the Roland's face. I think he was very impressed.
But I think Alicia is a very exceptional actress.
Choice of Alicia, it was Mark Damon's suggestion.
Alicia Cuthbert is a marvelous actress. She's such a pro, so great to work with.
Everybody happy?
Yeah, let's shoot it. Eyeline for Daniel.
My experience with her is great because we create well together. We're both ready to acknowledge whatever form the scene takes.
Alicia is extremely intuitive and gets things really quickly, and there's nothing more delightful than actually starting a sentence with an actress and realizing before you've got halfway through it that she knows exactly what you mean.
I think the main reason for doing the movie was to work with Roland Joffe. He's just so easy to work with, you know. I think when you're working with people that know what they're doing, it just sort of steps your game up.
Generally, when I work with actors, I don't like telling one actor what I'm telling the other one, because that lends a kind of tension. If you are too explicit with everybody about what a scene is about, you can take that away from the actors, and then the actors have to work to remanufacture it. I'd rather that it was there, naturally in the scene.
I can't stop staring at you. Because you get that a lot, though, right?
Daniel had such an intriguing challenge, really, because Daniel is really playing two people. I think that's something he pulls off beautifully. I think when you look at his face and you see his face in the mirror, and he begins to change from one to the other, you're going to sit there and go, of course.
We chose Daniel Gillis because it's a very tough role, and we needed somebody who could give us the boyishness and the complexities as well.
You begged for my life.
I felt like I was begging for mine.
In terms of preparation, the script becomes like your Bible. I mean, I researched a lot about the nature of this kind of crime, of like serial killing crime.
When I met Daniel first time, I was absolutely sure that this is absolutely right choice for Gary.
Daniel's really great. I really like what he's done with his character. To pull that off and then to go back and watch the movie again and have that all really make sense and play out with the knowledge of who he really is very complicated for an actor, and I think he's doing a great job.
So in this little closed world, the most interesting thing happens right towards the end of the movie when she actually understands what's happened with the brothers. She realizes that she has to allow that game to go on.
I see.
Because in actual fact, Jennifer, the model, the woman, the victim, is more capable of being flexible than the brothers are.
Nowhere to go, Jennifer.
And that ability to be flexible means that she actually gets out of her captivity.
Jennifer sort of starts the film with a very narrow-minded idea of life, and I think that's her real arc and discovery, as opposed to just going through this mess of being sort of captured. She learns a lot about herself, too.
In the end of the movie, as it is, you see the great image of what everybody projects with her, with this tiny figure walking past, and there's an amazing sort of exchange between the two, you know, between the poster and this little girl. The poster is just something manufactured, but of course as you sit it, you think, that's what everybody knows about her. But we in the audience are privileged to have understood, we've looked behind the poster. So having seen the poster destroyed, but seeing that it's still there, you realize that in an odd way, she's going to have a long battle, in a sense, to get her freedom, to be free of the image that people have decided that that's what she is, that she's colluded in. The movie is, in a sense, all about that. Where does Jennifer's captivity end? Does it end when she gets out of that place?